All right. Welcome to No Nonsense Market Domination Pre-Show. I am David Wilson, the Business Savage. Welcome to the Savvee Show. Yes. You are in for a treat today. On the Savvee Show, we will be going live on IBGR.Network at 3 p.m. internationally. So in over 83% of the entire world, we are being broadcast. So you are in the right place. IBGR International Business Growth Radio by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. We help businesses in all stages, from pre-startup to startup growth, to hockey stick growth, to slow and steady, nice and easy, to, hey, I'm ready to sell this thing and retire and get the most bang for my buck when I sell it. You are in the right place. So entrepreneurs, business owners, welcome. If this is your first time behind the scenes, welcome here. If this is not your first time behind the scenes, we welcome you back. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you to our Twitchers. And thank you to Periscope Twitter, the law firm of Periscope Twitter. So as a reminder, love comments. So you can stick your comments in the comment block wherever you are watching this. Love to hear comments. Love to say, hey, Savvy, wow, that's a nice jacket. Hey, that's anything. But as long as it's relevant to the show and it's positive. So all positive comments are welcome. All negative comments will be deleted. So don't bother. So today's show is your startup a business or a hobby? I'll just watch your feet. What does that mean? So we hear a lot of this yakety yak, and it's like, oh, I'm a business owner. Oh, I own a business. Yeah, my company. Blah, blah. I'll watch your feet. And we're going to talk about that stage, because I think that phenomenon happens most often in this stage of business. As I just got finished saying, and I'll tell you who I said it to in just a minute. But as I just got finished saying, you cannot teach hustle. And the thing about business ownership, the thing about entrepreneurship, if you don't have it in you, if you don't have that drive, if you don't have that desire, if you don't have that, as we used to say way back, passion, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. Before the pre-show, so I went live a little bit earlier than I normally do, just to so I did live to promote. I did a pre show, right? I did a pre-show to promote. Oh, I'm not even prepared. Where's my show notes? To promote this, the pre-show. And I get this message, and this message was from one of the greatest defensive players of all in the history of basketball, that you've never heard of probably. And her name is Mary, I'll give you like 2/3 of her government, Mary Patricia. All right. I call her Patty. So I coached Patty way back in 1990 something or other. And she came up in conversation this week. We were just chatting about that, how I talk about her often because she was one of the smaller players on our team. And, but in terms of hustle, in terms of work ethic, it's amazing what she was able to accomplish. Her job, her singular job was to guard the other team's best player. Now I'll say, Patty, here's what I need you to do. I need you to be annoying. I just need you to annoy him. And it was always a boy. I need you to annoy him the entire game. All right, Coach D, I can do that. And that was it. It was over with. And these kids would be looking at their coaches and like, what is going on? It's like this, and she's a girl. So she was just in their face, hands up, just being extra. It was awesome. It was awesome. But because of her, it was because we had some scorers on the team, but it was our defense that really shut other teams down. And I big shout out to Patty, because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have been as good as we were. Now check this out. I say this all the time on the show. So in fact, I just said it. You can't teach hustle. But watch how this works. So you take that experience that she had, and shout out to Deal Elementary School. Not many coaches are in the championship fraternity. So, Phil Jackson, who else? Casey Jones, Doc Rivers, me. So, it's like, no, I'm in there. And we know what wins championships, and it's defense. It's that hustle. And we also know that, especially if we're coaching kids, the lessons they learn as kids in sports are translatable. They transcend. It's never really about basketball. It's always about life. We're building high quality adults is what we're doing. Guess what Patty told me? She said, "You would be so proud." I said, "Why?" She said, "My husband and I own 2 businesses, one in Belmar, New Jersey, and the other, that might be Neptune City, but we'll just say it's much more dramatic if it was in my hometown of Neptune. So we'll just say Neptune, just because I'm not sure. She owns 2 businesses, and because you can't teach hustle. You can't. So that's not a mistake. That's not a coincidence that happened. So I just think that's a phenomenal story. So I'm glad I was able to catch her before the show started. I'll try to get her on the radio too if I remember. Steve's not here yet. We got to do our sound checks right quick. For those of you who have never been here before, my in-studio engineer Steve is not here yet, which is not unusual. So we'll do the sound check, light check, and such ourselves. We're going to go to Avatar, and then we'll come right back as we do our sound check. Check. Soundboard check. Mic check downtown. Check. We are connected. Switch 1. Volume check.
How do I build?
All right. How about show notes check? Okay. All right. Got the show notes. Oh, welcome. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, entering the room, my in-studio engineer, Steve Namin Euphemi. Wow. Right on time, I tell you. You can't get any better than almost late. So good job. If you're new to the Savvy Show, you're gonna have a good time here today. This is gonna be a well-spent hour and change. You're gonna learn about business. In this case, you're gonna learn about the startup stage of business. You're gonna learn about talk a little bit about IBGR, what it takes to be in business, what it takes to start a business. And today we're going to give 3 examples of businesses that I worked with in my Savvy Sessions. A Savvy Session is essentially, I call it business therapy. That seems to fit, where we go over different challenges, specific challenges to the business. Sometimes those Savvy Sessions turn into engagements where I end up funding the business and we watch it grow. There's going to be an example at the end of the show in the fourth segment. So you want to stick around for that. In the fourth segment, we're going to talk about a business. So if you go back to, I just need to lay the foundation on this. So we help businesses in all six stages: pre-startup to startup, growth to hockey stick growth, slow and steady, nice and easy. That's good growth, right? And then selling the business. I'm going to tell you a story about a business where I was so thankful to be the guide and mentor on. They were the heroes. This company managed to get through all six stages of business in about 3 years. So it was an amazing ride, and I'm glad I was able to ride with them. 5 minutes to live. 5 minutes to live. 5 minutes to live. So make sure you stay tuned and wait for that. And I mean, listen to the rest of the show too. Don't just come in the fourth segment. But definitely stay tuned for the entire show. Let's see, what else can I say? So we're about 4.5 minutes to live. So let me go ahead and change my banner now. So one of the things we're focusing on this season's title. So we're in season 6. Can't believe season 6 of the Savvy Show. Plug into the system. Plug into the system. What is the system? The system is, everyone needs a system, right? The system here is, well, it's me, right? That's the system. We went from reimagining, and it doesn't have to be me. So there's lots of different systems, but we all as business owners need a system, and the system is part motivator, part motivation, part procedure, part efficiency. It's all of that. Your system can simply be can be a peer group. Your system can be a mastermind group. Your system can be one person. Part of your system could be a business coach. Part of your system can be software that makes your business more efficient. All of those. Wow, time is flying. We are 3 minutes to live as I go off completely on kind of a tangent. But if you want to plug into the system here, it's easy to do. Go to it's right at the bottom. Go to www.gostartyouup.com. Gostartyouup.com, and you too can plug into the system. Just go there and read all about it. And if you want to schedule a Savvy session with me, and because you need some business therapy, you want to hash out some new ideas, you want to talk about challenge you're having, you want to see if this business even makes sense. You want to see if you really have a business. Ultimately, and we'll talk about this. Ultimately, what I've been able to do is save people quite a bit of time and money, or make them quite a bit of time and money. So make them time in terms of efficiency, and make them money. So just check it out. All right, we're about ready to go live. And talking to downtown. Turn my show up. All right, and we are 2.5 minutes to live. 2.5 minutes to live. Thank you, Anoint. Thank you, Angel. This show is dedicated to Patty DeMarco, the greatest defensive basketball player of all time. That's it. Deal Dolphins, stand up. All right, I'm going to go to Avatar, and we will be live shortly.
You're listening to IBGR, our call sign for the Internet Business Growth Radio Network. Broadcast frequency is our URL, and that's IBGR.Network. We provide live and recorded shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on what an entrepreneur, small business
Ooh.
This is on the 180 million English speaking
A little tight today.
Four major markets: America, Australia,
So real quick, it's very important as a business owner to stay hydrated.
All of these 6-hour cycles are delivered. 6 major themes: strategy, operations, people.
So I'm constantly drinking water.
First, we're track strategy, operations, sales, and people. Which is all on base.
Wow, look at that. Look at that, 45 seconds. 45 seconds to live. 45 seconds to live. Steve, you ready? Yep. Show notes. Show cards. We are ready to go. Bourbon. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Today. All right. I'm just watching my clock because we're about ready to go. Going to be live on IBGR. Going to be live here on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch. Can you feel the energy? Here we go. Go to Avatar. Ready to do our intro. Stand by. Final check, Steve. Good. Lighting's good. Mic is good. Here we go. Let's have a good one. All right, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Ready to change the world. You ready? Good. Say my name. Savvy. Let's go. All right, welcome to the Savvy Show. I am David Wilson, the Business Savage. Welcome to No Nonsense Market Domination here on IBGR.Network. That is Profit Radio, International Business Growth Radio. We are entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, no matter what stage of business you are in, from, pay attention, pre-startup to startup, growth to hockey stick growth to slow and steady, nice and easy. This business is flowing like water. Two, we need to get the most we can for this business when we sell it, so we can open a grooming facility specifically for albino ferrets in our retirement. It's a thing. It's a thing. Google it. They exist. No matter what stage of business you are in the right place. So entrepreneurs, business owners, come grow with us. Come grow with us. All right. Got the loud and clear go ahead from downtown. Thanks to our founders, Donna and Bill, here on IBGR. We are being broadcast in now over 80-something% of countries all over the world. That's amazing. If you are new to the Savvy Show, No Nonsense Market Domination, welcome. We definitely appreciate that. If you are not new, in other words, you are a returning listener on IBGR.Network, or you're a returning viewer on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, or Twitch, I humbly thank you. I humbly thank you, because you keep making a conscious decision to come back every week, and it's just, you keep doing it. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So it's not always like this, but I'm going to do this in order. And last, and certainly least. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Last but not, I'm kidding. It's not least. Last but not least, my loyal in-studio engineer who helps me with, well, he manages to show up every week and provide a little bit of comic relief, at least to me. Steve Namin Euphemi, SNY. Steve, SNY, welcome. All right, we got a show to do. What's the title of the show, Steve? I'm just kidding. I know it's right here. We are in season 6. The theme of this season is plug into the system. So all this season, we're going to be talking about businesses. I'm going to tell you stories. I'm going to tell you stories of businesses that I've worked with who have plugged into my system, and how I've advised them, how I funded them, and the results they got or the results they didn't get when they didn't listen. Because we're going to talk about some of those today. But today's show, is your startup a business or a hobby? I'll just watch your feet. I'll just watch your feet. So what does that mean? That means, one of the problems with business ownership, and it is a problem, is that the barriers to entry of business ownership, the barriers to entry of entrepreneurship are relatively low. And because of that, some people get into the business of business ownership just to say they are in business. So they just want to say, oh, yes, I've been in business, going on 3 years now, and oh, okay, yeah. So how are things going? Oh man, it's a grind. It's a grind. Yeah, it's just so, and it's like, give me a break. No, business ownership is hard. Let me give you a definition. Business ownership is hard, but I want you to remember this. And the business ownership is also glorified. It's very glorified. It's very romantic. You get to, you get to say you're a business owner. You get to say you are your own boss. Blah 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 blah. But guess what? And we talked about this last week. If you're not making revenue. We're not talking about profit. So if you have no revenue, you do not have a business, ladies and gentlemen. This week we're going to touch on, and I figured that this week I'm going to gain some support, and I'm going to lose some support, because I'm probably going to rub some people the wrong way, because they're not really going to like what I have to say. But just remember that Savvy is short for savage. So what can I tell you? You could be watching Ellen, I suppose, or something like that. Is she still on even? I got to call her back, by the way. So, all right, remember this. If you are not offering a solution to a problem that people are willing to pay you more for than it costs you to deliver on a regular basis, then it's not a business. Then it's not a business, period. Now, and I didn't even write that way in the show notes. So I added on a regular basis. That's an important distinction. I think, though, if you remove on a regular basis and say the same and use the same definition, what you have is probably a hobby. And listen, don't write me. Don't write me. Oh, Sammy said I wasn't in business, and he said I was. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just tell it. Let it be what it is. Okay, let it be what it is. The first off, the difference between a pre-startup and startup is startups are making money. This is my opinion. There's different definitions. As far as I'm concerned, a startup is making money. A pre-startup is not. Now, just because a pre-startup is not making money doesn't mean pre-startups grow to be startups, right? Startups grow to growing companies. Then those growing companies turn into hockey stick growing companies, and then they get to. You see, it's the different stages. As far as I'm concerned, pre-startups, no revenue. Startups, revenue. Now, the definition of a startup to my company fund you up and startup to a bank are very different. So a bank is going to the bank's going to want 2 years being in business. We're going to look at 6 months in business. So that's just a couple of differences. I'll add this, and I had a very interesting conversation. If you happen to join me on the pre-show, which is live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, you'll hear this story again. So I was blessed with a message from the greatest defensive basketball player of all time. That's right. Her name's Patty. Mary Patricia. I won't give her last name. I'll just give 3/4, 2/3 of her government. So I coached her way back in the 90s. And she exemplifies what we talk about here on the show. And it's something I say often. You can't teach hustle. And as the best defensive player, you don't always get the type of shine that the scorers get. You don't always get the type of shine that the dunkers get. But when you get to work, when you get down to work and put in the work, do the push-ups, and you come prepared to do your job, you come prepared to go to work, you put your head down and go every single day, you get results. And any coach in the championship fraternity, in the high level championship fraternity like myself, we all know this. Rebounds win games, defense wins championships. And thanks to Patty for helping us win our championship. True story. It's true. But you cannot teach hustle, and that's what we're going to need as business owners and entrepreneurs, especially in this stage. The startup stage is somewhat more difficult than the pre-startup stage. All right. In our next segment, we're going to start talking about our first of three. This is a countertop company from Jersey. Two brothers started this company. I'll tell you more about it when we come back from the break. I worked with them. They did almost nothing that I told them to do, and as a result, well, we'll see what happens when we come back from the break. We'll get into all of that, and I'll just tell the story. It's not my fault. It's just how it was. See you on the other side. Savvy. All right. Good set. All right. Oops. Well, that was almost a disaster, man. Because I almost lost my connection. Hey, it's David Wilson, the Business Savage. So my commercial's on the radio right now. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being on. Love the comments. Thank you. Welcome back, Anoint. Welcome back, Angel. Appreciate you. Feel free to share the show. Feel free to invite people to watch it. however you are doing it, whatever platform you're listening or watching it on. Well, in this case, watching it on. This next story is going to be a good one, and I think a lot of people can learn from this. And it speaks to, I think, the numbers don't lie on this one, but the emotion here, the feeling here is going to be very profound. It's going to be very, very profound. And you'll see that when we get into it. But everything from Jersey is profound, right? So you would kind of expect that just from jump. It's like, oh, where's this business located? Oh, it's in Teaneck, New Jersey. Oh, it's profound. That's profound in a mug right there. Okay. All right, what do we got? 45 seconds? Yes, 45 seconds to live. 45 seconds to live. Having fun yet? Here we go. All right, Steve. So some people say, "Hey, Savvy, do you have a script?" I was like, I have a framework. I do not have a script. So oftentimes I'm typically following my framework, but I do not follow a script. If you care, I mean, right? Who cares? We're going live. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. I am David Wilson, the Business Savage. No nonsense market domination here on IBGR.Network Profit Radio. We are in season 6. I think this is the 3rd episode where we're talking. We are smack dab in the middle of the startup phase of business. So the 6 phases of business we talk about here on IBGR by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs: pre-startup, startup. So number 1, pre-startup. Number 2, startup. Number 3, growth. Number 4, hockey stick growth. Number 5, a business that's running itself, essentially. I say slow and steady, nice and easy, because I've been saying that for so long. You know, it's kind of like Frosted Flakes. They're great. I mean, are they really great? Are they really great, though? Like, they might be, but not really. But it's too late to change it now, because everybody's used to it. To selling the business. Number 6, selling the business and making the most you can from it and retiring. So those are the 6 stages. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned because in the 4th segment, we're going to talk about a company that experienced all 6 of those stages, all 6 in just about 3 years, and is amazing. Yes. All right, but here's the story I promised you, and this is about a natural stone countertop company in Jersey, and it's relevant because that's where the company is located. So yes, I'm from Jersey. Everybody knows that, but this is where the company is located. 2 brothers started this company. Not brothers, but brothers started the company. Okay, you understand what I'm saying, right? Okay. Some do, some don't, and we'll just move on from there. These guys were doing really well in their startup, and what their differentiator when they started up. So first off, the pre-startup for them was just kind of some planning, and it really started for them with a vehicle, some expertise in polishing and cutting, some connections to slab yards, so where they could go pull granite, and speed. Those were their differentiators. Well, and because their operations were so small, price. So they were able to beat their competition on price, be faster than their competition, and be at least as good quality-wise as their competition, which spoke volumes to their customer base. Make sense? As they went through their startup, as they moved through into this is gonna let me back up, because this is gonna sound like a growth story. This might even sound like a hockey stick growth story, but it's not. It's not, because how can I put this? So debt is not revenue. Write that down. So I got a $500,000 loan from the SBA. That's not growth. That's startup. So we're in a startup phase, right? That's not the same thing. And people misconstrue that often. And this is where those types of numbers are what did these guys in. Because, well, let me back up a second, because we'll get to the numbers will make perfect sense. If you're spending more than you're bringing in, then anybody can figure that out, right? But as I watched, here are the things that were happening, and as they started to quote unquote grow. So what they thought was growth ended up being a deviation from what got them there. So remember, can't teach hustle, but they got really, really complacent as a little bit of money started rolling in, and they started thinking, okay, wow, right now we've been doing really well. We're killing it. We've been killing it for the last 2 months, 3 months. Let's go lease 5 vehicles and hire people. Well, wait a second. We haven't perfected. It's just like when people come to, people want to start a restaurant concept. They say, yeah, this restaurant is great. And look at this concept, read this. And I'm reading and I was like, okay, wow, that's cool. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, and I want to sell this to 50 people. That's our business model. We're going to sell it to 50 people, and we'll have 50 locations plus ours. And I kind of just sit there, like, well, what happened? How do you see that happening? Why do you think someone would pay for something that's not a proven concept? And it's similar here. So in that example with the franchises, we need one unit that is most efficient. We need one unit as a model, as a flagship, before we start franchising anything. Going back to the marble and granite company in Jersey, what they were they had not perfected that first truck yet. You see, it's the same concept. They had not perfected that first truck. I advised them, because they brought this, they were excited about growing, and I advised them to not even think about doing what they were doing. What they thought about doing was leasing a vehicle. That's what I thought they would do. They ended up leasing 5. And they now what just went up? Their fixed costs. So now, and their debt. So now they have to service this debt. What happens to their differentiator? The differentiator changes, right? Because now, in order to keep up with the debt service, they have to raise their prices. Now, they're raising their prices, but what falls off is another differentiator, the quality, because they can't service the way they could service. They couldn't deliver the way they could deliver before. And they started losing customers, but guess what? The debt didn't go away. Another thing of note here, and this is kind of what I was talking about in the first segment. This was a lifestyle play for them. And I see this a lot. People want to go in business to be their own boss. And that's the reason you're going in business. And that is not a sustainable reason. Let me not say it that way. It is it's a valid reason to go into business, but it does not sustain being in business. We'll say it like that. We'll say it like that. Because I am my own boss does not imply you have a successful business. You actually have to have a successful business, and a successful business follows that definition that we said earlier. You need to be able to sell a product or service to people at a higher cost than it costs you to produce on a regular and do it on a regular basis. So if you're not doing that and you love being your own boss, you are screwed. So these guys wanted the trophy before doing the push-ups, and this pops up quite a bit in the startup community. What did these guys in? And the good thing was they plugged into the system. I was working with them. They just didn't listen to what I was saying. And had they, what they were paying me to listen to them would have paled in comparison to what they lost when they filed for bankruptcy, because they were just out of control. They ended up bleeding money. And they were losing customers, they were losing money, and it was very, very, a very profound failure. That's not a judgment when I say failure. We talk about failure. Failure is not a bad thing. This was just a very profound failure, because it was a peak. It was like going from pre-startup to startup, and it was just like bang, they hit hard at the bottom, and it didn't have to happen. So that's the story of the two brothers, Marble and Granite Countertop Company from Jersey. So it's important to have people on your team that can see the things you maybe can't see. All right, but don't worry, because in the next segment, we're going to talk about someone who actually did take my advice. She took my advice once. This was one Savvee session, and it's in the alcohol space. So yeah, but it's a great story. In the alcohol space, everybody loves the alcohol space, right? Okay. Don't write me. We'll see you on the other side. Savvee. Awesome. All right. Good set there, Steve. All right. Remember, everyone. So thank you for watching. We're about halfway through. If you are in the pre-startup or startup phase and you want to plug into the system and you need an objective set of eyes, ears, and a disconnected mouth, meaning, I'm not really trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not really connected to you emotionally. I'm not really just going to give you the truth. I'm going to give you how it is. You can plug into the system. Just go to www.go-start-you-up. That's go start START. The letters U, letter U twice. P as in Peter.com. Go start you up, and you can get you can plug right in, and I can help you maybe the same way I help some of the folks we're talking about on our show, or didn't help. But it wasn't my fault. So in that last example, so that's the way to be held accountable. It wasn't my fault though. Wait a second, I didn't do it. No, but really, it was heartbreaking because you do get kind of tied in to the people you work with. I want everybody to succeed, and they wanted that lifestyle more. That it was a lifestyle play, and just it was somewhat disastrous because they just stopped doing all the things right, and then the moves they made it impossible to do the things they were doing before. It was just impossible for them to do it. So sorry if I get a little excited. That was just that's a story that helps a lot of people, but it's not a pleasant story to tell, really. So all right. Oh wow, we're back. Okay, 15 seconds alive. Here we go. Is this thing on? Of course it is. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. I'm David Wilson, the Business Savage, here on No Nonsense Market Domination on IBGR.Network, Profit Radio by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, no matter what stage of business you are in, from pre-startup to startup growth to hockey stick growth, which for those of you who don't know, that's a really, really, really big growth, to slow and steady, nice and easy. Wow, this business is running on its own. It doesn't need me to be here. It's making money. It's profitable year over year. This is awesome. To it's time to sell because I want to spend more time with my grandkids on the ferret farm. So no matter what stage of business you're in, we are here to help. Come grow with us. Hey, come grow with us. They love it. They love it. All right, we're doing a show here. Focus. Is your startup a business or a hobby? I'll just watch your feet. I'll just watch your feet. In other words, we're looking at your actions, not listening to your words. As an advisor, so when I have my advisor hat on, or my business therapist hat on, I am able to disconnect from the emotion and just look at the facts, kind of listen to what you're saying, and then looking at the actions you're taking, and pretty quickly assess what I think. I mean, it's my opinion. It's kind of like American Idol, I suppose. You know, everybody has an opinion. Some opinions are going to differ, but you know, William Hung can't sing to anyone. So there's some opinions are just going to be the same. Sorry, William, don't write me. Okay, hey, he had a hit though, so we'll give it to him. All right, before we talk about this next company in the alcohol space, I want to give a shout out to our show sponsor, NutriChamps. NutriChamps, those of you who have wandered around on my Insta or Facebook or what have you, you know, I'm a big believer in the physical and mental strength of the business owner, of the entrepreneur. So it's important that we be mentally strong, be physically strong, so we can endure all that is thrown at us on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. I do that by taking vitamin supplements and cleansers and minerals and such from the guys over at NutriChamps. Go to nutrichamps.com. That's NutraChamps.com. When you go there, look around, put a whole bunch of stuff in your shopping cart, and then use my code, TheSavage1, THESAVAGE, the number 1. Put it in the, use that as the coupon code, and you'll get free stuff. You'll get discounts. And if you do that every month, that'll make you very happy. That'll make you very strong. It'll make me very strong too, and very happy. So if you did that, so that'll be great. So hashtag champion your life, nutrichamps.com. Awesome. That took a long time. All right, when we come back from break, we will no, just kidding. Just kidding. Downtown's going crazy. No, you can't go to break right now. Okay. Just having fun, guys. It's edutainment. In this particular alcohol space, this was a great example of a startup in the alcohol space. Pre-startup, got through that pre-startup stage. The startup stage was boosted, in my opinion, boosted with very effective social media coverage and marketing. This lady did, in my opinion, a phenomenal job with that. What ended up, well, these are not my words, these are her words. What ended up being her challenge was product based. In her words, it was getting the product into more stores. Said, okay. I'll add to that. In this, I met with this woman one time, and well, we'll just go on. I met with her once. What got us together was a need for funding. The company at the time was doing about $400,000 in gross revenue a year, which was fantastic, and I applauded her for that. And she came to me for funding, and she said, I hear you're the funding guy. Well, I mean, so she said, cool. I need about $500,000 to hire a sales force, create a sales plan. I'm going to hire about 12 people so that they can get my product into these various stores, and so we can sell more. And I just kind of stared at her, and there was this kind of awkward silence. And I said, why would you want to do that? What do you think will happen after that? Oh, well, we'll be in more stores. And you'll also be in debt, and you'll also have an unmanageable logistics challenge. You'll explode even if you could do that. You can't. Nobody's going to give you $500,000 on $400,000 worth of revenue. No one's going to do that. I mean, unless they buy you, unless they buy the company. Is your company for sale? Oh, no. Okay, fine. I didn't think it was. So what are you going to, that's not going to make you win. But I'm curious. Why do you think you need a sales force? Well, because we're not in enough stores. Okay. What makes you think you can't do that? Well, here was her response. It was very interesting. And this was a huge breakthrough for her. Well, it doesn't look right for the business owner, the entrepreneur, the CEO of the company, of company X, to be peddling product. I responded thusly. Well, do you know anyone who can peddle it better than you? And she said, I guess I don't. And I said, I know you don't. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to work harder on your business. No, rephrase that. Nobody's going to work harder on our businesses than we will. No one. I don't care who you hire, because no one is vested in the same way. No one. And I used the rest of our time to convince her that this was a terrible idea. Not only that it wasn't going to happen, she wasn't going to get 500,000. She probably could have gotten 25,000. But no, I said, you need to get your stuff and you need to go knock on these doors. And because you are the face of this company, you are the face of the company, get out there and get to work. Get out there and get to work. So I guess you're not going to fund me, huh? She's got a sense of humor. So I said no, and she got up from the table, and that was it. We were done. Fast forward it's probably about 6 years, 7, 8, 6, 7 years. And she did that. She knocked on doors of major big box retailers, big box supermarkets, and she got her products in there. She got them to listen because no one could sell that like she could. Today, this company in the alcohol space is they're above $1 million in revenue, probably close to 2, all over the place from a marketing standpoint, products all over the place in local stores, because she did not buy in to the lifestyle challenge, that lifestyle chasing mindset that our friends from Jersey did. She stayed lean. She stayed lean and was like, okay, I'm going to follow that advice. We don't need a sales force. We're not going to hire anybody. I'm just going to get down and get to work. Now, see how all this connects? Watch this. You can't teach hustle, though. See, that's all that was. So plug into the system. Plug into the system. When we come back from break, I'm going to give you what I promised you. The company that went from pre-startup to ferret farm in a matter of 3 years. It was amazing. It was an amazing journey. It was fun, perilous at times. We're going to talk about it when we come back from the break. The Savvy Show. All right. Oh, this is fun. All right. Mr. Meredith in the house. Thanks for jumping on. Yes. All right. This is number 4. This is the big one. This is the big kahuna. I don't think I've ever said that live. I've never had a reason to say kahuna. All 6 all 6 of the stages, and I got to not run my mouth too much because we got a lot to cover in this next segment. So thank you everyone for being on. We appreciate it. Definitely would be here by myself if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you. All right. And as we progress through the season, so you're probably following on. So from pre-startup to startup. So pre-startup last week, startup this week, growth next week, hockey stick growth the following week. See how it goes? And so the first 6, sorry, is that right? Is this episode 4 or 3? No, this is 3. Yeah, yeah, that's right. So the first 7, we had an intro show, and then the next 6 are going to be the stages of business growth. All right, so thank you. We are going back live to finish this jammy up in about 45 seconds. Again, thank you. Make sure you share, like, subscribe to all the stuff at allthingsdavidwilson.com. If you are in the pre-startup or startup phase and you want to plug into the system, you can go to gostartyouup.com. All right, let's finish up strong. 15 seconds to live. Here we go. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. David Wilson, Business Savvy. No nonsense market domination here on IBGR.Network. Profit Radio. Profit Radio. So you have been listening to episode 3 right here on the Savvy Show. Is your startup a business or a hobby? I'll just watch your feet. So always remember to watch your feet. And that should, from an accountability standpoint, we always want to be making sure. Here's a little nugget for you, a little takeaway. And I use this myself throughout the day. Would a CEO be doing this right now? So just try that. See what happens. And let me know what you think of that. Let me know how that works for you. Let me know how that doesn't work for you. If you like it, if you hate it. Well, if you like it, let me know. If you hate it, I don't want to hear about it. Yeah. All right, so we're talking about plugging into the system this season. Do you feel overwhelmed and cranky? Do you work 1,000 hours a week and don't feel like you're getting ahead? Does your family complain about how much time you don't spend with them? Are people on your case about your blood pressure, your health, your fitness? Are you tired all the time and don't feel like yourself physically or mentally? Do you think you should be doing better but just don't know how? Well, that's when you plug into the system with me. Go to www.gostartyouup.com. If any of that resonates with you, let's talk about it. And we'll see if we can get you over the hump, get you over those hurdles, get you past those challenges to get you where you need to be and deserve to be. As promised, the company that pushed through all 6 stages of growth in a span of about 3 years. I was going to talk about this company later on. I was going to talk about, they would have been an appropriate example in the hockey stick growth phase. But to be honest, I got a little impatient and I just want to get it out there. I wanted to get it out there now, just because I think it's a great story. And the biggest takeaway that I think it comes from this story is that hockey stick growth doesn't, so there's a couple of takeaways. It doesn't always take years to get to hockey stick growth. Hockey stick growth also, if you're not, so hockey, you need to plan as best you can for hockey stick growth, because if you hit hockey stick growth and you don't have the systems in place to manage the hockey stick growth, it's kind of like what happened to the countertop company. It's just you're gonna start losing customers. You're gonna start to fail internally as well as externally. And the third, there's a misconception that growth is comfortable. That growth is comfortable. In this particular example, growth was not comfortable. It was not comfortable. Here's what I mean. So growth, this hockey stick growth that this company experienced in the IT space was as comfortable as leg pressing a ton, right? It's not comfortable, but it is growth. And you just have to, we just had to push through it. Some of the challenges that come. So first, let me back up from the beginning. Pre-startup phase was relatively short. The startup phase, we had very specialized knowledge with this company. So this knowledge was easily marketed. Okay, very easily marketed. Expertly marketed, in fact, to the people who had a high demand for it. So we had to understand who our end user was. We had to understand how to get to them and what they were willing to pay. So go back to our definition. If you are not offering a solution to a problem that people are willing to pay you more for than it costs you to deliver on a regular basis, then it's not a business. This, ladies and gentlemen, was a business, because they nailed that up front. The scalability of this business was evident as well. It was just a matter of getting the attention of the end user and getting a specialist with that specialized knowledge into their department, into their facility, and just keep doing that. Now, so where does the hockey stick growth come? The hockey stick growth comes from a lot more people asking for that solution, which means now the challenge we have is going through this hockey stick growth phase is bringing on people. People need to be paid. And governments take years to pay invoices, right? So that was their biggest challenge. So in comes Funua and coming in to save the day. So I was fortunate enough to provide the funding of the experts, funding to pay the experts that they were placing with these companies. And we did that. And We grew, and it was hard, and the growth was because we just kept growing and needed more money, and we fought and we scratched and we clawed. So remember, growth, hockey stick growth. The slow and steady, nice and easy was a small part. The business the business cycle. I would say. Tell me what you think about this. I think this is right. That slow and steady. I think the idea is to go pre-startup, startup growth, then that hockey stick growth, and then to level out to slow. That's why I call it slow and steady, nice and easy. Not, yo, we're gonna be here for a second before we sell the company, which is what happened. That's how it happened. So that was the exit. That was the exit all along. That was a planned exit to be bought, and we spent a little bit of time in that slow and steady, nice and easy, like a couple days or something, and until we got to the table and sold the company. Now, was it perfect? No. Did we do everything right? No. Could we have done things differently? Yes. Could we have done things better? Yes. But all things considered, that's the journey. That's the ride. That's the entrepreneurial roller coaster that ends in a great success. And this was about, it might have been a little fewer than 3 years, but it happened so quickly. So the takeaway is, for this company, I'll say this. I think the big picture takeaway for all of you startuppers out there, if you have an idea, if you have a startup and you're bringing it to the table and you're starting your company, you maybe have a little bit of revenue. Here's the shift. If you find your niche in your idea stage, if you find your niche in the pre-startup stage, right? Before they came to the table, they knew who should want their specialized knowledge. And they happened to be right. And they happened to be the only ones who were delivering that specialized knowledge that way. So that makes the startup is a breeze, because when you hit the market, you're hitting the market with people who are ready. They not only are ready to use your stuff, but they need your stuff. So they had a niche before they started. And that's how they were able to just to really fly. So and that's it. And I was happy to be a part of that with those guys. So we deliver on our promises. All right, we're coming to the end of the Savvy Show, No Nonsense Market Domination. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Shout out to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Yes, thank you. Shout out to IBGR.Network. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Wilson, the Business Savage. And again, thank you for being part of the Savvy Show on IBGR.Network. We will see you next week. Remember, stay savage, my friends. And scene. All right. Yes. Good work, Steve. Good show. All right. Thank you, everyone. was a good show. Hope you took away some stuff there that maybe you could share with some other people. Maybe you could take that away, use for yourself, use for yourselves. So thank you. Next week, we will be, as I said, progressing right through the stages. We're going to be talking about, we're going to do the pretty much the same structure, but with growth companies. And there's a fine line. There's a line between startup and growth. We have to figure out what that is, and how I'm going to really effectively deliver that. Because the beauty of this is that the fluidity, the fluidity of it, the nebulousness of it, because it's gray, it's not black and white. As you could see in that last example, that wasn't black and white. Their pre-startup was like a day. Their startup was, they ramped right up, and then the growth almost launched right into growth, then launched almost right into hockey stick growth, slow and steady, just non-existent almost, and then the sale. Whereas the company in the alcohol space had a definite pre-startup, had a definite startup, had a definite growth. I don't believe they've hit hockey stick growth yet. I don't know for sure. It's not a client anymore. Because, like I said, we only had that one session. That was it, and that's fine. But she took that advice and ran with it and made the most of it. So awesome. So that's it. Simple. So thank you all for watching. Come back next week, 3 p.m. broadcasting live from the capital of the South, Richmond, Virginia, USA. And join me, David Wilson, the Business Savage, on the Savvy Show, No Nonsense Market Domination. Thank you very much for being part of this with me. And we will see you next time.